Alright, let's go.
Impeccable timing, Captain. I was about to watch the latest episode in Halcyon Helen's thrilling serial adventure. Welcome back, Captain. Now that you have acquired a nav key to Stellar Bay, would you like me to contact Dr. Wells?
Well done. You'll love Monarch. Exotic climate, violent native species, fascinating culture, really. You'll need to speak with Hiram Blythe. He's known as the information broker, and for good reason. If anyone knows where I can find those chemicals, it's Hiram. I need those chemicals to revive the Hope's colonists. They can help us fight back against the Board. They can help us set things right. If we don't put a stop to the Board, they're going to drive this colony toward a complete societal collapse. You'll see what I mean when you arrive on Monarch. Oh, I've tried. I haven't been able to get through to him at all. Silence from the system's own information broker? Not a good sign. Oh, could be any number of reasons. Incarceration, a period of copious drinking, a severe case of the sleeping sickness. Better to be sure than to resort to conjecture. You'll want to hire the services of a skilled guide. I recommend a hunter by the name of Nyoka. Frequents the drinking establishments of Stellar Bay. Very hard to miss. Once you have everything you need, make your way to Hiram Blythe's compound. Come see me in my lab. I'll answer any questions you have. Best of luck. Everyone on the Hope is counting on you.
Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? Mm-hmm. We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
Oh yeah.
They might tempt you with promises of wealth, but don't be fooled. They're just using you for their own ends. What's on your mind? Absolutely. Let's talk. Oh, goodness, no. I wouldn't survive 10 seconds in the blackness of the aether. Well, no, I imagine I'd last at least 12 seconds before I'd lose consciousness and die of hypoxia. Life outside work? No, of course not. My life is my work. For that matter, everyone else's lives are also my work. An entire colony's worth of lives are at stake. It's up to me, up to us to set things right. To answer your question, I'd rather stay right here in my lab. There's too much work to be done. The Hope's colonists won't revive themselves, you know. Because we've lost our way, the Board has a stranglehold over this colony.
and we've all been conditioned into total obedience. The Hope is full of specialists, scientists, engineers, talented individuals like you, people who haven't been corrupted by the board. Unfortunately, the Hope's colonists have been frozen for decades, well past your shelf life, so to speak. No offense. Ah, you begin to perceive the truth. Yes, according to the board and their narrow-minded scientists, you should be a pile of organic sludge right now. 10 years. That's how long the average human can remain in hibernation. You were frozen for decades. In theory, you never should have survived the revival process. But the conventional theories are wrong. You're living proof that it can be done. There's yet hope for the Hope. Get it? We'll do our very best to save them all. I'd best get back to work. I can feel my last dose of caffeinoid fading.
Sam, my vacuum tubes require evacuating. No, not those. The ones in port. Yes, there. Thank you. And while you're at it, could you switch my binaries to that? Exactly. I haven't felt this clean and efficient since Captain Hawthorne installed my subalternate auxiliary backup processor. How can I be of assistance? What part of the colony would you like to discuss? Where in Monarch? Ah, Monarch. The armpit of the Halcyon system. Her last functioning port town is Stellar Bay. Well, that is if you don't count Sublight's smuggler's port at Fallbrook. It's Sublight run for the purpose of shipping contraband, and before you ask, I don't know the coordinates, so I can't dock us there. I believe it has something to do with the planet being an uninhabitable wilderness, and a lawless land with no corporate presence. You may wish to survey the residents in Stellar Bay for additional data points. How can I be of assistance? Certainly, Captain. I was hoping you would ask.
It was the law-forsaken parasites. I had become obsessed. My quest to stop them. To avenge my partner, Philip. And my ex-partner, Bernice. And Lieutenant Jurgen. And those two informants had brought me to Rizzo's distillery. But it wasn't just the triple distilled deliciousness of Rizzo's Spectrum brand vodka that I found there. It was death. I made sure the Brain Eaters paid the price. But at what cost to me?
is the Halcyon News Network with breaking news. Halcyon Helen has been murdered. Administrator Ludovico of Rizzo's refused to answer the big question on everyone's mind. Who will Spectrum Vodka's next spokesperson be? Claiming that a special investigation must be concluded first.
Captain, we have a communication coming in from one Administrator Ludovico.
Get off the transmission, Cedric. We agreed to let me do the negotiating. Law be with you, friend. I am Administrator Ludovico of the famed Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. But there's no need to stand on formality. You may address me as Mr. How about not? I apologize if I've struck too familiar a tone for your tastes. Let me get right to the point. Halcyon Helen is dead. Murdered. Her death is the tragedy of our lifetime. As the face of our new product line, her murder is a stain on the Rizzo's brand. She was scheduled to unveil our newest product, Spectrum Brown, before this tragic event. But we cannot move forward with our unveiling until we apprehend the killer. You can't be serious. Halcyon Helen, greatest cultural icon of our colony, empress of the Aether Waves.
All right, Ludovico, that's enough. You don't know what you're doing. Let me handle this. Captain Hawthorne, so glad to finally have a word with you. I would have been so disappointed if Ludovico monopolized your attention. Cedric Kincannon, Sublight Underground. I'm so glad we're hiring a third-party investigator. No one wants to see a troop of UDL guards stomping all over my hotel, least of all me. The murder of Halcyon Helen is a heinous assault on this colony. I look forward to watching you find the miscreant responsible and drag them out of the shadows. Two-bit actor. Oh, Captain. This isn't Spencer Woolrich we're talking about. This is Halcyon Helen, Princess of Periodicals, Duchess of Dramaturgy. You would not believe the money she made us on Dissident Busters.
For law's sake, Cedric, could you show a little discretion and not bring up your contraband operations in front of an outsider?
Please, Lou. Sublight Underground is built on discretion. I'm establishing rapport with our new contractor. Let's not give her the impression that you can't be trusted.
Do you really want to do this right now, Cedric? You want to antagonize me while I'm negotiating a contract? Because I promise you, I'll win.
We can do this anytime you want. I'll even make an appointment. I'm sure your schedule's wide open. What with your product launch being indefinitely delayed due to unforeseen murder.
All right, Cedric. If that's how you want to behave, I have no choice but to file an official reprimand on your permanent record.
Oh, please do. I'd love an official reprimand from a failed executive. Could you do me a favor and have it laminated?
Could we please stop this nonsense? Captain, I'm Constable Maria Keene. Hiring a third-party investigator was my idea. I've been studying your dossier. You're reliable and competent. You've been taking care of yourself ever since you arrived on Halcyon. And you're entirely independent. As far as I'm concerned, you're the ideal inspector for this case. Just the three of us. You must excuse us. The situation on Eridanos is tense. If we don't bring Helen's killer to justice, this scandal could scupper our entire operation. Please, Captain, I'm asking you to help us. While you're pursuing your investigation, we'll make you a guest of honor at the Grand Colonial.
I encourage you to consider this offer seriously. The future of our complex may depend on your success. I'll leave you in the constable's care. Mr. Kincannon and I must have a word.
Fine. But Rizzo's is paying for that hotel room.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for your help. And even though they may not show their gratitude, I know Administrator Ludovico and Mr. Kincannon appreciate your involvement. Mr. Kincannon could lose his spaceport if board authorities took over the investigation, and if Rizzo's is forced to cancel its unveiling, we might never recover. Helen was more than popular. She gave something to this colony that no product line could ever provide. Real happiness. No one has ever been as well known or as well loved. Outside of our courageous business leaders. Me? Worn out? Perish the notion. My days are filled with catering to the oh-so-reasonable requests of Mr. Ludovico and Mr. Kincannon. What's not to like? Your words, not mine. Please don't take my lack of disagreement as anything other than fatigue. I am a content, productive, and happy member of our society.
Transmission terminated. Captain, we are now cleared to land at the Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. It is possible they expect you to understand the mind of a killer. You were, after all, responsible for murdering civilians in Emerald Vale. Eridanos is a hydrogen-helium gas giant, distinguished by a well-defined ring system. The Eridanos Atmospheric Complex is a system of land masses propelled through a thin layer of the upper atmosphere, where humans are potentially capable of surviving. We're now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain.
I'm gonna use a little brush. Oh, this plant's cool. I guess we're going to the moon, I guess. All right. Let's look through our... Oh, sweet. Okay. I want to... What am I using right now? One-handed melee, two-handed melee, long guns, long guns. Okay, so... Okay. Let's see here. So, that's in Fallbrook. Fallbrook kind of stuff. Oh yeah. Fallbrook. Okay. Other than that, nothing too fancy. DLC. So we will, I think we'll do it after Monarch. Bring my little robot along. Oh.
Hey, hold on there. I gotta sign you in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? I knew it. See, I made what you'd call a logical deduction. You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off. Wish more folk could say that. Gets awful quiet guarding a landing pad that never gets used. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic, us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna in Halcyon. Please state your name for the records. Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill. We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago. Mr. Sandra will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor? I got this Rizzo's Rangers tossball poster coming in on the next sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in? I couldn't really say, I'm just a fan of the game. But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figure my poster's been passed around by more than a few people by now.
Boss, come on. Black Hole Birdie, the Holmeister, the Hack Attack.
That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest tossball hackers ever. Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. You been living in a sulfur pit or something? On account of him being the best hacker who ever played, nothing gets by him. He sucks up every ball that comes his way. Well, Holcomb's had a lot of nicknames over his career. Used to be the tallywhacker on account of what he'd do to the score. Before that, he was the slick stick, because his shots were always so smooth. I swear I'm not. At the start of his career, people called him the hack boss, but no one thought that was very catchy. Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
No, I mean more than usual.
Wouldn't know. I made it a point to stay out of her way.
Help! Someone's been killed! I think I'm gonna be sick. No! I just stepped in a dead man's blood. And I think one of the flies landed on my mouth. If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. That's where the body is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go contemplate a hot shower.
Murder? Hey, is this the part where we go hunting for clues?
Body bag dispenser empty. Please replace sack reel before disposing of any corpses.
Well, yeah, they're valuable. Mostly colonists.
Entering quiet mode.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
It was over here, I think.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial H Mammoths. Aren't they just? When I get to worrying about the marauders outside, the raptidons chewing at the walls, I just turn my transceiver up to drown it all out. Most of the time it's static on account of the frequency being clogged up, but sometimes it's tossball.
You get to listen to games all day? Stellar Bay really is a paradise.
It's pretty swell, but it's a whole lot better with company. Say, I don't think I've seen you before, and I'd remember that face.
I'll try not to be a stranger then. Name's Felix, by the way.
You should stop by more often. The games are always better when you've got someone to celebrate with.
Sounds like a good time. I wouldn't mind bringing a couple drinks and settling in for the pennant match.
Look at me, getting carried away again. So, what can I do for you? Graham's always filling the airwaves with this propaganda, like it's done him any good. All it means is the tossball games get to us in fragments. Makes them real hard to watch.
Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
We don't get many outsiders.
Let me take one more last look there. Maybe something to keep an eye on. Several ragged outfits, all in the same cut and color, were stuffed into this hastily packed suitcase. Oh, do I have to go back now? Okay, I just didn't have that there yet. There was something... Companions, no. Okay, never mind.
Here to catch a game? I'm afraid the transmission's still pretty bad. What can I do for you? Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow, even if he did have terrible teeth. Right. So the thing with Isaac is he didn't know where to stop. He'd get stuck on something, and he just couldn't let it go. Sometimes he'd drink purpleberry punch by the liter. Other times he'd keep betting on a losing team. Started owing the wrong people money. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with one of them. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies, but there's not much he can do.
Smells like wrapped in here.
Oh, it does work. I bought some musk from Sebastian to cover up the saltiness.
Trust me.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna.
No.
Oh, a shame. I'd been saving a bottle of iceberg-aged whiskey for an occasion like this. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
You talk like Graham.
Can't imagine why you'd sneer at the notion of a free colony. Could it be because you're an agent of the establishment?
I used to be young and idealistic too, but you can't run a city on high-minded ideals. I have people to look after. I need to be practical.
That's why Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Are you out of your mind? You can't just go crawling back to your old masters.
Well, we can't continue to subsist like this either.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's a two-pronged approach. The first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended. Not long, but the devil is always in the details. And the salient detail here is a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance.
I was starting to get bored listening to you, till you said the phrase, extremely powerful ordnance.
It is quite the rush. I'll need to gather some supplemental materials, but I mustn't get ahead of myself.
You do tend to do that.
The Bolt 52 will be in the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in. And these days, it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. So taciturn, so dour. I'll be waiting with bated breath. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. What can I do for you? I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff? Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
Sounds like the board gave themselves the power to arrest an entire planet.
They would say it's for the greater good. Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way. I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws. Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2, but back then it was known as Terra 1. As you may have noticed, this planet has more than its share of hazards. And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out. Our leadership at the time certainly wanted to, but there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up. It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. No, they laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else. Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws.
Your first mistake was expecting the board to cut you a fair deal.
I understand the sentiment, but if we can't rely on some sort of framework, then what do we have? I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently. Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Yeah, and once you go back to him, they'll own your dignity too.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation. I fear the MSI citizens who've been dissolved into Raptidon Cud would disagree with you. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes. It'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them. I'm trying to build something here. They only want to destroy things, and they risk ruining Monarch for all of us. It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels, and pushes us further from the rest of the colony.
So, what's the downside?
Shall I begin with the supply shortages, or the subtle but constant threat of annihilation? He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
What can I do for you?
We're not the best equipped, but scouting for rats keeps us on our toes.
Laws. Can a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace? What I am doing, ma'am, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place. This law's forgotten town. Cut off from the rest of the colony. Removed from any culture. I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted. Yes, free to wallow in squalor together. Free to squabble with the iconoclasts over a raptidon-infested hellhole. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. But I gotta get in there. Get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you? Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you? Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger? Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head. More than you have, I suspect. I plan to sit here and drink until I find myself awoken sober. You do what you like, stranger. I'll be here in the meantime.
All right. Well, get to know the place a little. We'll come back next time.